aren't our own individuals.
We make decisions based on society's standards without the realization that reality is just a perception.
Reality is constructed by the government.
It is not static.
Failure is inevitable for the vast majority.
Just like Katniss's movement to alter their reality, we can change ours. It can be changed. The government does not own us.
The government in the Hunger Games has many similarities to oppressive countries' governments around the world. In the Hunger Games, no political opposition results in the same powerful dictator, President Snow, leading Pan Am for a number of years. Zimbabwe has been ruled by the same dictator, Robert Mugabe, for 43 years. With political opposition banned, no one has attempted to run against the current leader. Today, Zimbabweans are struggling to live due to Mugabe's decisions and government. Empty supermarket shelves, poor farming, hyperinflation, and unsustainable land redistribution are things the people of Zimbabwe have had to face. Due to President Snow's decisions, Pan Am's land has been redistributed into districts. Because of this, the districts are now suffering, just like the farmers of Zimbabwe. Hyperinflation is a huge economic issue in Zimbabwe. Many people are not able to afford everyday products due to rising prices. Zimbabwe's government's solution to inflation is printing more money. When more money is printed, the value goes down and the money is therefore useless, resulting in black market activity. In the Hunger Games, the government gives you a chance to get more money if you enter your name into the reaping bowl more than once. Even with this extra money, it is still not sufficient to live on, therefore the black market is used. Mauritania. With mass poverty, 25% of the population survives on less than $1.25 a day. In the Hunger Games, poverty and hunger is a frequent struggle. Peeta sacrificed the burnt loaf of bread to Katniss in a time when food was scarce and malnutrition was a real issue for her family. In Mauritania, nearly 10% of children under 5 suffer from acute malnutrition. Also, Mauritania is the only country in the world that still enslaves people. 10 to 20% of the population is enslaved, while the rest of the world is focusing on granting more minority rights. This is similar to the Hunger Games because districts are forced to work by government officials to provide for the capital, while the capital prospers. Most of the slaves in Mauritania are children. The Hunger Games uses children as playing pieces in their games. Sound similar?
We get one step closer to freedom as governments push us 2 steps back, oppressing its people with guidelines, rules, and laws. We find ways to get around laws or speak our mind just to have more rules put in place. Governments don't want their people to succeed. They want us to drown. We witness the Capitol and the Hunger Games alter the rules of the game so that it benefits them and not the candidates. First, the rule of how many victors may win is changed by the government from 1 to 2 as a ploy to attract the audience towards Katniss and Peeta's love story. Unfortunately, the Capitol couldn't allow for the 2 to actually win, so once Katniss and Peeta were at ease, they oppressed them by changing it back to 1 victor, hoping that they would kill each other off.
There has been a slight rule change. The previous revision, allowing for 2 victors from the same district, has been revoked. Only 1 victor.
Incidents like this where the government oppresses their people happens all over the world. Laws are passed all the time in the United States that oppress and take rights away from its citizens. For example, the Patriot Act of 2001 was created to stop terrorism by redefining it, creating more titles, such as a cyber terrorist or an eco-terrorist. After this was passed, the Secret Service and U.S. Attorney General had virtually no barriers for investigating terrorism. They were invading citizens' privacy by listening to their voicemails and collecting data from servers of Facebook, Apple, and Google. People in the United States can no longer protest or speak their minds without being considered a terrorist. What has the world come to? Humans are sentenced to death due to government regulations in countries like China, Pakistan, Egypt, and Iran. Is killing someone not just as bad as the crime they have committed?
A Chinese court has sentenced 3 people to death and 1 to life in prison.
If you thought the Hunger Games was all made up, think again. It's not.